randomized swords. So what's going to happen is that these runners, they're going to make their way to Uncle. There's no guarantee that the Uncle is going to give these guys a sword. They could give them a hammer. They could give them 10 bombs. They could give them a fire rod. And that's what they're going to have to use to go into escape. And we find in Link's house, we find a single rupee, so there's very little help here. So this is going to be a fun match. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I'm excited to see the outcome. Both these runners rocking very white sprites currently.
Yes, they are, as Fantallis is going to be a little faster to the bush, but that's more of just the time desync at this point. We'll get that squared away in just a moment. And survey says for the Uncle, the fire rod. That's a good thing to begin with because you can one-shot that guard that's guarding the big key next to Zelda's cell. And nice potion drops right there. We get some money as well.
Yeah, fire rod's always a really fun one to start with as well. It's one you don't see very often being your solo weapon at the beginning of the game in just a regular rando. So it's really fun to see, just light everything on fire.
So these guys run into the castle. Now, you notice their magic bar is not infinite. They have only a limited amount of magic, so they're going to be strategically trying to kill things, trying to make sure that they have enough at the end. But they also want to try to score some bombs.
Yeah, they're going to be wanting to kill some of the rats and the snakes in Escape, and hopefully even some of the guards will be nice and drop some bombs so they can get the 3 chests at the end of Escape and maybe even be set up for Kakariko if they're lucky.
Speaking of being set up for Kakariko, they get themselves a bottle, so they're going to be able to check the sick kid when they're done with here and head over to the village.
On top of having more than enough for the bottle merchant, so that's very good. A lot of being able to clear out Kakariko in one fell swoop is incredibly nice.
So far we have not seen a bomb drop from any of the guards. That one ended up dropping a heart on Felix's screen as we get 20 rupees inside that chest. And now we head on over to Zelda's cell, where once again the fire rod's going to one-shot the guard. Now, if you're trying to conserve magic for the second half, you may opt to go with a 2-bottle strat. Or rather, the 2-pot strat.
Yeah. Speaking of pots, those are going to come in handy, when trying to preserve fire rod shots for farming bombs later in Escape.
And we get more rupees coming up here inside this chest. So not only are they set up for the bottle vendor, but they're going to be able to pick up some bombs in Kakariko Village as well. That is, of course, unless they have some issues and they have to go and unless they are able to get some bombs here on the path towards Kakariko Village.
Yeah, maybe they'll opt to take a look at the poultry. Maybe that'll offer some bombs or bush crab.
So right now, as we escort Zelda up through the escape portion of this, there are going to be some pods during the sewers portion of this in which we are going to be able to maybe get some small mana. That could come into play here, as we do see both of these runners ending up grabbing a pot and smashing it against a guard, hoping to get that bomb drop. Neither of them did. So now we have to wonder, are they going to have any chances at all about getting some bombs, either from the rats, as you mentioned, or the ropes coming up?
Yeah, and they definitely want to conserve at least one fire rod shot because there's a rat at the end of Escape that gives you a key to progress, and they definitely don't want to miss out on that. One of these runners might opt to grab some magic here on the left, but they do not. I think they're feeling pretty confident.
And we see Fantallis even skipping the ropes here, does not even want to chance it. We see Felix ending up shooting up the rope, and unfortunately got unlucky, did not get any magic drop. Or any bomb drops, rather. So there was the key. That was guaranteed to be a key at this portion here. As we do see Felix grabbing some extra. Oh, nice bomb drop there from Felix. Great use of the pot there on the rope, scoring the 8. So he may have an advantage here against Fantallis. Fantallis has 1 fire rod shot left. Can Fantallis end up getting a bomb drop off one of these rats? Survey says no, just a blue rupee. So Felix is going to have the first look at these upcoming 3 chests.
Yeah, that's incredibly good for Felix. This may put him at a slight advantage.
Depending on what's inside.
Oh, not this time.
And unfortunately, nothing big in here. But that may also be just a few seconds difference over Fantallis, who will have to come back later. The bow at the Sanctuary chest.
Oh, wow. So now we have 2 ways to take care of some enemies, which is very nice without a sword. It gives you a little variety.
And we get our map check here, and it looks like all 3 are crystals. I believe only one of the 3 is part of our 5-6 combo. So Felix has a little bit of an advantage at this point as we get that confirmation of the map check. It is Tower of Hera, which is part of our 5-6 combo. So Felix is going to have an advantage heading into Kakariko Village. And I'm surprised Fantallis isn't going to grab some of those arrows to get a more stable weapon at this point.
Maybe he's hoping for a drop or for some of them just fall in his lap. Or he just didn't think about it.
Well, also, I'm more thinking about the idea of getting some arrows to use at least here to try to get some bombs, because right now Felix has the advantage with these 7 bombs in the arsenal. Felix is going to go right straight into the well and into the thieves' hideout. Not going to have to go shop to get some bombs. We get a piece of heart, by the way.
Yeah, Fantallis might just be banking on, you know what, instead of gambling and wasting a bunch of arrows and possibly time trying to kill enemies on bombs, I'm just going to, go where I know I can get bombs.
So we know the Agatum is not going to be required, at least to progress into something at the Lumberjack Tree, as Fantallis does take the trip on over to grab some bombs. We'll stop here behind the tavern. What do we have inside?
That's definitely an item that we want to see. That's 1/3 of our Dark World access.
That would be the power glove right there. Great thing to find. We get the shovel from the sick kid. Well, that's interesting. That's going to be interesting for routing, because they can check that after they're done checking the library and the race game, if they choose to do so.
I have a hard time believing either of these runners would overlook that. So Fantallis just picked up his bomb, so he's going to be making his way back up where Felix is going to be able to go straight into Blind's hut here. Checking out Chicken Hut and Fantallis' screen. Gonna get a lot of information here.
We're going to get 20 rupees. Yep, 20 rupees inside the chicken coop. We get a piece of heart so far. Another 50 rupees, because why not? A heart container, because why not? And a piece of heart, why not? So nothing to progress the seed on Felix's screen. Fantallis getting 20 rupees ripped off from the bottle vendor. Spend 100, get 20 back.
It's a 20% discount on nothing. Ooh, but finding the flute down in the well, also another nice thing to have in Kakariko, just another thing to knock out, and now we can fly all over the world. And just a bunch of hearts otherwise.
So we got the bow, but not the lamp. So Eastern Biologic not completable at this point, although that's probably not going to stop these runners. We have a glove, and we have the flute. So I'm just trying to think at this point, where does the seed want them to go after they're done with all these checks?
I'm probably guessing, I would say south loop for either a hammer, a hook shot, a mirror, something that'll lead them up to Death Mountain for something. Or maybe the back of Shalarsh's hut might have something. Who knows at this point? It's really hard to tell in the beginning where exactly the seed is pointing you. You gotta kind of explore just a little more sometimes to find out exactly where you need to go.
So while Fantallis goes ahead and activates the duck here, Felix is going to go ahead and check the last locations that we saw Fantallis get. So he will have the shovel, he will have the power glove in just a moment. But we're going to get a little more information about this seed as Fantallis heads on down towards the library. And will the boots be required in this seed? And
Unless
300
want
rupees?
Yeah,
Probably not.
It.
So over to the race game we go, and at the race game we find a heart container. So Fantallis is not floating away just yet. So we're going to check what the shovel is while we're in this area.
I'm sure Felix will be following suit right behind him. Yeah. Oh, well.
Fantallis is trying to grab a couple of bombs.
No, Felix is not going for the shovel. He's going right down the south loop. Gonna be checking this out. And he didn't really miss out on much.
Yeah, it's just a bomb upgrade. So over at the swamp, we get ourselves a piece of heart, and Fantallis will be following suit as well.
Let's find out what the soggy item is today. Soggy bomb upgrade, not what we're looking for.
So Felix here is going to be heading over to the mini Moldorm cave, and I'm a little concerned because of the 3 for his bombs, but he does have 20 arrows, and thankfully those do work against the mini Moldorms.
I'm surprised he didn't opt to go grab that little magic right there and maybe have a little easier time with the fire rod, but looks like he's going to be taking... he took most of them out with ease. This one's giving him a little trouble. Fantallis opting to go for bomb strats, getting a nice double. There's the hammer.
There's the hammer, yes.
And the flippers.
And the flippers. So now we're a moon pearl away from Dark World access. So Felix is going to whistle away, and I have a feeling this is going to just bring him over. Well, I thought he was going to go on over. Yeah, there he goes. I thought he was going to head on over here. So he's going to check the Ice Rod Cave. Having the flute saves you a little bit of walking.
Yeah, it's a small time save, but time save nonetheless. You gotta get it where you can take it. Felix getting lucky with a little bomb drop right there, so he'll be able to replenish this, even though he does have a good amount of bombs now. Ooh, the crabs are all in his business, though.
Same with Fantallis, and Fantallis here having some issues with the bomb as well. So we get some more bombs, so that's probably going to make Fantallis feel a little salty, having to use 2 bombs to get into the Ice Rod Cave.
Net worth of 1 bomb. We'll see if Felix is going this way to use his flippers or if he's making an eastern play.
I'm thinking he's heading south. Yeah, he's heading south.
I figured. They gave you the flippers. They're kind of like... The seed is very slowly just be like, all right, go this way now. Holding your hand through it.
And based on the southern route here for Fantallis, we're going to have the same here as well. So we're going to check the hobo first, and this the reason why we're doing it like this is so they can check what's on the island. And it's just 20 rupees, so they're not going to be concerned about that island anymore.
Alright, we're taking the hobo's last possession, and it is just a piece of heart. Yeah, he could probably live without that.
Are you
It's
sure?
it's only a piece. If it was a full heart container, then I'd be a little concerned. I'd be concerned that we just murdered a hobo outside of his house.
So Felix is going to check that digging spot. Remember, he didn't do it earlier, so this is going to cost him just a little bit of time because it's going to take a little extra time to make his way over here while Fantallis is heading over towards Zora.
I'm not going to be too happy with what he finds here, and we'll probably end up fluting right back to 8 and be back on Fantallis' tail.
Yep, and there we go. As both of these runners run into that problem, is as long as Link Sprite has... Oh! There's the ice rod. As while Link Sprite still has the shovel being shown, you cannot change to the flute. Felix is not heading over towards Zora, though. He wants to check... Oh, he's going to check Eastern.
Yeah, he probably figures it's a crystal. I feel confident with my dark rooms. I can knock it out. I'm going to do it.
But he does remember that he should probably grab the 3 behind Sarashla first before he does peek into Eastern, so we go back this direction. As Fantallis is about to pick up the Zora item.
Makes it a little easier.
And we found out the green pendant is the ice past the moon pearl at Zora!
And now we have Dark World access, so where Fantallis goes now, I'm interested in.
And Bombos and the hook shot behind Sarashala.
Oh, wow. So Felix now has full Death Mountain access, which is pretty big for him. So both these runners in completely different good positions right now. Fantallis going back to grab those 3 chests at the back of Escape that he missed earlier.
Yeah, gonna be sorely disappointed at what he finds.
Yeah. Let's see what Eastern has to offer us. Without a sword, navigating dark rooms can be a little tricky, but
that hookshot's gonna make it a whole lot easier.
Exactly, and the second part of dark rooms with the fire rod lights up that room. So
Fantallis is settling on heading for the Dark World, which is understandable at this point. You've got yourself the Moon Pearl. It's time to go see what the Dark World has in store.
So far, just 20 rupees in Eastern for Felix.
So this is where the route divergence comes into play. Both runners finding equally good items. We get our second bottle. So that's already 2 out of the 3 items here in Eastern.
Yeah, with any luck, Felix will find the big key in this next chest, then find the next item in the big chest itself, and he'll just be able to skip that first set of dark rooms entirely.
Palace of Darkness, Thieves Town, Ice Palace, those are your 3 pendants. And then we also have Misery Mire as the other end of the 5-6 combo. Now, Fantallis is heading over here to Skull Woods. That's not a bad decision, but it's a dungeon that you can't beat at this point.
Felix did indeed find that big key there, so all we need is an item here, and we'll be heading to the back end of the dungeon. And there it is. So,
a single
like I
arrow!
said, Felix is going to be grabbing some more arrows, which is very smart. He's going to be heading to the back of Escape, making this a very, very quick dungeon for him.
Yeah, and there's the use of the fire rod right there.
That
And
makes that
quick
room
kill.
a lot easier.
So we know nothing important is here in Eastern, but it is a crystal dungeon. So it's good that Felix is taking care of it.
He's definitely not wasting his time. Fantallis, on the other hand, is in Skull Woods, can get to pretty much everything except for Moth himself.
Yeah, as pointed out once again, this is not a dungeon that Fantallis can beat at this point because you need a sword to break the curtain to get into the Mothula area. So if Fantallis finds a sword, this would be golden. But if not, it's a dungeon that he'll have to backtrack to later.
Felix finishing off Amos, getting a
Silver
map and
arrows!
his first crystal.
So Fantallis finds the silver arrows in Skull Woods. That's a nice find, but it's not a sword that can allow you to beat this dungeon.
So he's going to be checking the back. I wasn't paying attention if that was the second item or not, to be honest.
I believe that's only item number 1.
Yeah. So he'll be able to check this first item here in the Skull Woods Part 3. But if that is not the other item, then he will have to come back. I mean, he'll have to come back anyways to get the crystal. But
so Felix is going to go here to Death Mountain. This is where there's a wealth amount of items. It's wealth over going to areas where there's a small population of items. That's why Felix is up here. What he doesn't know is that what would give him greater reach as half magic's on top of the rock, and that's always a nice find, but we'll see where the mirror turns out to be. But you always want to try to minimize how many times you have to go up the mountain. Now, Fantallis finds a small key, and that's unfortunate. Fantallis cannot beat this dungeon at this point.
generally when you go into Skull Woods without the items required, you kind of anticipate to have to come back. It's relatively quick to walk through. Fantallis still going through it, though.
I don't think Fantallis remembers this. I don't think Fantallis remembers that you have to have a sword to beat this.
Yeah, that'll be a little costly for him, unfortunately. Felix opening the first two chests, just getting 10 arrows and a heart container.
And I think Fantallis just remembered it. Yep, Fantallis just remembered.
Well, better late than never. Well, there's the lamp.
That's an interesting spot for the lamp. So this seed by logic wanted you to get that hook shot out of Sarashala's back closet and then head up to Death Mountain to claim it.
And luckily for Felix, he's going to be heading over to Hera now. He's able to get over there through means of the hammer. And that's another crystal that he's going to be able to knock out. And also, it's one of the 5/6 crystals, which is very good for him as well.
He's just going to have to be careful getting there down to 2 hearts. Now, there's only one more dead rock he's got to deal with, but you know how dead rocks are.
Yeah. Ooh, he was coming for him.
If I'm Felix, it may be actually worth the while to go do a death abuse at some point here. He's opting not to do it in this room just yet. He's just going to have to press on at this point now. These orbs are not necessarily nice, but you can kill them with a hammer or you can just poke them down the holes by use of the hook shot.
Felix making very quick work with them. Not giving him trouble at all. Talus is making his way through Village of Outcasts, kind of clearing this out.
Felix playing it safe, and I can't blame him at this point. 5 rupees, the first of the 2 items here in Tower of Hera. Now we line ourselves up for this bomb jump. If you make it, you're great. If you go down that hole, you're going down 2 floors.
Yeah, that's a, if you don't make that bomb jump, it's definitely costly. I wonder if he'll attempt it again, or if he'll just decide to go the safe way the next time.
Meanwhile, Fantallis getting a 20 rupee out of the digging game. And not necessarily the 20 rupees you want to be rewarded with for the digging game, but opts to pick it up in case we need it later on. So it looks like we're making our way over to the Haunted Grove, and then we're going to head over to the Hype Cave, as Felix here having to dodge those. And they're not nice enemies to have to deal with, but he's heading upstairs here, and let's see if he can come back downstairs and get something good out of here. No, it's just a map.
So we're most likely going to have to go down into the basement, it looks like.
So either Moldorm has that second item or the compass.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 shot. So really not most likely, it's a 50-50 shot.
And here's Felix loading up on those hearts, pulling out the hammer, because at this rate, that is the only thing that you can harm Moldorm with.
Ooh, finding the Titan's Mitts in Hype Cave on Fantallis' end. That's a good find. And the boots, also very, very nice find.
Nice kill of the Moldorm for Felix. Fantallis now with the boots, going to be able to move around a little bit faster and get the single rupee. So nothing good in the first 2 dungeons that Felix has defeated, but getting the crystals is helping him at this point.
Definitely gives him an edge currently, but, you know, still very, very early to really tell who has a definitive lead at all. Fantallis making his way to Pyramid. Let's check out what's over there.
Yeah, this is a case of, because the routes are so different at this point, we cannot really peg who has a lead whatsoever. As Felix is going to go check out the Spiral Caves. So we know this is going to be a double dip here, double trip here for Felix. He's going to have to come back here later when he does get the Moon Pearl and the Titan's Mitt. So now with the boots in hand, Fantallis is heading over to King's Tube. Let's see if we have something in there. And magic powder in the Spiral Cave.
Curious to where Felix is going to head to now. He needs to get over to Zora. Zora is holding that beautiful Moon Pearl that we want.
He's going to be out of options by the time he gets done with this old man trip. Because at that point, as far as his options are concerned, it's pretty much you have to go to Zora. That's the only option he's got. Unless he tries to see what the magic powder yields him.
Powder, I can't quite remember if he even did Agnes Cave? I can't remember if he went left.
Oh, that's right. Both of these guys do have Agena here also available to him. What would be worse right now for Felix is if he finds the book, because that would unlock desert access. And yeah, that's a nice dungeon for him to have to clear out, but at this point, he needs to make it to Zora, and guess where he's heading?
Right over there to Zora. So he will be getting his Moon Pearl, and that'll get him into the Dark World. If he's lucky, he will decide to go flute to 5. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, 5, 4, 4. Flute to 4. And check out Hype Cave and get rewarded with his boots and Titan's Mitts.
And guess where Fantallis is heading to?
Looks like the back of Solaris's hut. So these runners are kind of starting to meet in the middle here.
Yeah, we're about ready to merge together the progression, and hopefully Felix remembers regarding Skull Woods and that you can't beat it without a sword, because that's the only real move that Fantallis made that was more or less defined as an oops at that point. So Fantallis finds the hook shot. Now we're going to head up to Death Mountain, and we're not going to check out Eastern at this point. So Fantallis is going to get the lamp before heading into Eastern. We're going to use the hook shot here in this the old man cave, which only yielded a arrow upgrade.
So this is another thing. If he decided to go East Death Mountain first, he would get that lamp and would be able to make his way through here a little easier. And Felix is indeed heading over to this warp instead of the Village of Outcasts warp. And hopefully we'll be checking out Hype Cave and getting his goodies.
So there's Felix's first confirmation of what he needs to do here in the Dark World. Has a whole bunch of options open up to him in about, we'll give him about 30 seconds, then everything's going to open up to him.
Yeah, essentially the whole world will be at his fingertips.
And with all the issues that Fantallis seemed to have in that cave, he does survive it to get the old man to where he needed to go.
Alright. Felix probably going to make his way over to the south loop of Dark World and into the Village of Outcasts with that Titan's Mitts. He'll be able to get right in there without having to make a huge loop. Oh, never mind. He's proving me wrong.
He's checking the backwards progression here.
Yeah.
He's going to go check the Haunted Grove, which we know is nothing. He's going to go check the Digging Game, which we know is nothing as well. The big difference here is that if he wants to, he can check the Breadsmith. Just like Fantallis here with the Titan's Mitt is going to be able to check the Hookshot Cave as well as Super Bunny Cave.
Very true. That could be big for Fantallis if he finds something like Samaria and Bomb. What did Turtle Rock end up being? We haven't found out.
We don't know yet.
If it ends up being Bombos, then he could go ahead and clear that out if he so wishes.
Nothing like a good old 40-minute trip into the Turtle Rock this game.
Yeah. Hey, early Turtle Rock is fun. Fantallis finding his lamp.
Actually, Fantallis also needs one more item before he would be able to go into Turtle Rock, even if it was Bombos. Need a sword to use the medallion.
Oh, that's true. I always forget about that.
I do too until I'm standing on top of the medallion requirement there trying to decide,
and you're
why can't I use this?
Doesn't work. Just work. Why does it matter if I have a big pointy stick?
So Felix ends up heading into the the chess game, gets some rupees out of the prize here. Fantallis about to go into the Tower of Hera to go try to scoop up his first crystal. So at this point, both of these runners are trading the same routes.
Looking like Felix is going to be making his way, maybe, into Skullwoods. Again, we know that he isn't gone.
Yeah, he remembered. He remembered.
He might be banking on a sword, so maybe he might check the first 4 chests in Thieves Town now, and maybe hope for a sword there. Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what he's doing.
Sometimes you're not used to not having a sword at the 35-minute mark. So
Yeah.
I think that's more of what it's going on here. It's not a case of you not being like, I can go into Skull Woods, I can beat this dungeon. It's, oh, that's right, I can't beat it at this point because normally I have a sword by this point. We gotta change the clothing.
It was a very small change of clothing. I didn't really exactly see what changed on that sprite.
I'm sure something changed. Now,
No.
Fantallis, because he got the boost, was going to be able to hookshot and then bonk off the chest back to start, which was something that Felix did not have the luxury of the first time he was up. So far, nothing good in Thieves Town. We got 2 of our 4 items.
Felix deciding to keep on going through, even though it's a pendant. He wants to find all the items.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that at this point, he only got 2 out of the 4 items. Maybe if he got 3 out of the 4, he could think about maybe gambling that the 4th wasn't required. Nice timely heart drop there for Felix, going to need it coming up for this Hellway.
Ooh, and another. Being very, very helpful with those heart drops. I'm getting a little blocked in.
Nice patience.
Yeah.
Nice patience.
Well. I know I would have probably ended up, being not patient and getting bonked all over the place. So Felix showing very good restraint. Meanwhile, Fantallis being able to go through Spiral Cave with the boots.
And we get the map
in the attic.
So the next 2 things we find are going to be items. Oh, that's not a hit that Felix wanted to take. Thank God the blue mail was in this dungeon, as that only does 1 heart damage as opposed to the 2 that he would otherwise be doing. Now he's got the powder out, so he's going to go ahead and powder this anti-fairy and restore his life.
Powder is one of those items where once you don't have it, sometimes you're like, oh wow, I really wish I had that right now. And that's exactly a situation where if you didn't have it, it would be very useful.
Absolutely. It's a case where, oh my God, I'm taking so many hits. God, I wish I had that right now.
Finding that 3rd item.
Yep. There's our first sword, by the way, in the Super Bunny Cave.
Oh, wow.
Now we're maybe just a case of Mario away from access to Turtle Rock, just like we had envisioned.
It looks like the key is in the big chest itself.
Yeah,
so
it's got to be at this point.
So Blind is going to be holding that last item.
It's Quake. So Bombos does not get you into Turtle Rock. We need Quake to get ourselves in. And we're going to see some hammer strats against Blind.
Hammer Blind is always a fun fight.
And so nothing good in the Hookshot Cave. The only thing important to Fantallis right now is the fact that we found where the first sword is and more bombs. So Thieves Town outside of the mail, and that's not a required item, was a bust. Unless the pedal store is required.
It's a little early to say right now. It could be possible. We have, all the items we need to beat all 3 of the Pendant dungeons, so it's not outside the realm of possibilities.
You're 100% correct at this, and this is an evil thought at this point.
And there could be a mirror or Samaria. And another sword. It could be the only next sword that we find. It could be a lot of things that we'll want.
So Felix up here in Skull Woods, and now I know he knows at this point because of what he did earlier that he can't beat this dungeon. He's more in here trying to see if he can't scoop up something nice that would help progress this seed at this point. So apparently this seed wants to send you all over the place.
Yeah, as opposed to in the very beginning where it was very clear where it wanted you to go.
As Fantallis checks out the Palace of Darkness, there's no guarantee that that is the answer to the puzzle either. So Felix is going to opt out of Skull Woods at this point, knowing that if he gets access to 2 items, it's going to be a tough road for him. Now he's heading right back up to Death Mountain, which this is a good play. We know this is the play that needs to be made. He'll get his sword. Oh, I know how Felix is routing this. He had opened up that tile, but he wants to do this a different way. He wants to check to see what the medallion requirement is for Turtle Rock. By the way, Chelsea, you know what might be open to these runners at this point when we haven't seen whether or not it is or not?
That would be Misery Mire.
You're thinking the same way I'm thinking.
Yeah, we haven't even checked out what's in the shed over there yet. So... Then again, we don't have the Cane of Samaria, so we technically can't finish Mire yet. So that might be at the back of their minds.
Yeah, but that only restricts you from one possible chest out of the many that you get in Misery Mire. It could be easily accessible to get to the 2 items. So Felix, picking up his items out of the Hookshot Cave, finds out that none of them are required items. We'll soon pick up the sword, though.
Yeah, Felix is probably going to be a little sad that he's finding that a little too late after looking into Skull Woods.
By the way, you know what this opens up? It opens up Mothula. Now, we have not seen that second item in Skull Woods. Mothula either drops that second item or the big key.
Exactly. And as we progress through Pod, it's looking a little more likely that that could potentially be the answer. There's that.
And Felix is checking it.
Yep.
But first, he's going to have to deal with the guard. Oh, he's checking
powder. Oh, he's actually
powder.
going for powder.
Mirror!
Oh, well. That opens up Swamp for us. So that's yet another dungeon where we can potentially find the items we're looking for. Just 10 arrows from Mr. Batman.
So we know that both of these runners are going to have to pop their way into Pendant Palace of Darkness. Now, this will help Fantallis on a routing standpoint because when we do make that play towards Misery Mire, as you and I were mentioning just a little bit ago, Fantallis will be able to clear desert.
Not to mention, the smithy sequence is made a lot easier with Mir, as opposed to not having it. So if Felix does decide to do that after Skull Woods, without the Mir, could take a little time.
So now Felix is making the run over towards Mothula. And we get the second shield upgrade.
Fantallis deciding to leave, not kill Homosaur. Don't know if he had gotten all the items, to be honest.
I think he counted the items. Now, you know the beautiful thing about finding that mirrors there is now you can go ahead and mirror her to Eastern and clear that dungeon.
That was incredibly good routing. No, not intentional at all, but it worked out very, very, very well for Fantallis here. I'm hoping to see Samaria at Moth here. I think that'd be great.
That would be a fantastic thing to find at this point. Felix is going to go ahead and check this first. Has not seen either of the items in Skull Woods. He has not checked the normal big key location, so he does not have the silver arrows yet.
Finding himself a key. Gonna have to walk back. Unfortunately, that mirror would be really nice right now for him.
Yep, and we know he's not going to come across it for a little while here. It's standard randomizer for you. It's all about those gambles.
Ooh, getting knocked around by the Gibdos a little.
Yeah, I think
He's trying to conserve as much magic as possible because he only has Fighter Sword and is trying to avoid having to use that or the hammer on the Moth here.
just got the timing for the bunny beam. I thought he was too late getting it.
Yeah. I do believe he has a red potion as well, though, so he should be in good shape. Getting a little poke on him.
Trying to be as patient as he possibly can while Mothula sits in that corner.
Yeah, Moth not being too kind to him. We are all out of Fire Rod shots, so it is up to either Hammer or the Fighter Sword to take this guy out. Getting a little aggressive with him.
Yeah, maybe a little too aggressive here, down to one heart.
And that red potion? Ooh. No, he's just going in.
Ooh.
Oh,
No!
man.
That is an unfortunate death in many, many ways at this point.
He's gonna go digging for some, hopefully a magic refill here. Nope, not getting anything though.
Meanwhile, it looks like Fantallis is taking the swamp play.
Yeah. Every moment getting a little in a better place. Getting a nice bomb drop, but that's not really what he wants right now. Gonna have to be very careful in this room.
Yeah, what would really help him out in this room right now is if he grabbed those silver arrows, because he could one-shoot those Gibdos.
Yeah. Yeah, ironically enough. But he managed to avoid them perfectly fine this way. He might opt to go grab that hurt in the corner. No, he's saying, oh. Yeah, he does grab it.
Hey, he's hoping to kill something else and maybe get
Get
another,
some more magic.
yeah, another magic drop.
All
This
right,
is
round
a
2 for
root
Moth.
seed.
It certainly is.
Looks like Felix is trying to settle himself out to be a little more patient as we find the third bottle. And that's unfortunate that he's already down out of magic at this point.
He's definitely going to have to be very patient with the Moth now. Ooh, getting some nice hammer hits on him, though. There he goes. Down he goes.
Nice job!
Very good redemption on Felix's part.
Drops the big key, so the second and final item is going to be in the big key chest. Or rather, in the big chest.
Meanwhile, Fantallis has just started his trek through the very long Swamp Palace. Felix is going to be picking up his silver arrows. Getting those Gibdos out of his way.
So he will get the silver arrows, and that would have worked nice against the Gibdos, but it's good to have these for a little bit later on. As Fantallis goes and will go to the back of this area. Felix waiting for the hand to drop and finally gets it.
The hand doesn't drop when you actually want him to.
And the other worst thing is the fact that he did not go out that entrance. So he got back to the door he went into, which was the far side. Meanwhile, in Swamp, we get ourselves 50 rupees and another piece of heart. So far, nothing really of note inside of the Swamp Palace.
It looks like the other item there just ended up being a heart container. Ooh, Fantallis getting the big key, but deciding not to go back to see what's in the chest.
Oh, Fantallis still has to check the left-hand side. If Fantallis is going to go and see what that big key yields, it will be when he comes back in after defeating Argus.
I should have known. I was like, wow, he got there really quickly. Should have known that that's what was going on, and he didn't do left side yet.
So Felix is going to go ahead and grab the breadsmith. As you mentioned before, this is a play that because Fantallis has the mirror, it's going to be a lot faster for him.
Yeah, if this does end up being something, and Fantallis does even need to do it, he'll have an advantage there. Oh, we are taking the dwarf up on the mountain, though. Just for a little bit, though. We're going to flute back into town.
Yeah, this was just for the full health refill.
Don't get to see the dwarf on the mountain very often.
And this is a tough Argus fight. This is a tough Argus fight when you only have the Master's, or rather the Fighter Sword, because you've got to spin those puffs. So you're going to see these runners going into the hammer strat.
Yeah, luckily, they have both silvers and fire rod, which makes the second phase a lot easier. One arrow will take him out.
And Felix is heading for the Palace of Darkness, so soon we'll have that mirror. And we'll see what Fantallis does, whether or not they decide to go back into Swamp Palace to clean up the left side.
Yeah, right now his progression is either looking like a mirror-locked item somewhere here in Swamp, or the Mire area.
Which could also be in Mirror Block Desert at this point.
Exactly. You can see some checkerboard cave action.
We've already seen seeds where that progression has lied inside that checkerboard cave.
I know people that swear by checkerboard.
Can you blame them?
Oh, there's
There it
Samaria,
is!
though. So that will definitely lead Fantallis over to the Maya area.
The question is, what is going to be required to get into Misery Mire?
If it's either Bombos or Quake, we really just need one medallion and another sword to be in go mode.
What's this you're speaking of a go mode about?
If Mire is either Quake or Bombos, then they just need Quake and a sword, and they'll be in go mode. Or Fantallis will be.
That would be correct.
So he is closing in. Yeah, unfortunately, I think the big difference right now is that Felix did go into Thieves Town and it ended up not really having anything for him.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but that's, those are the routing decisions that we see runners make at this point.
And sometimes it's, you gotta gamble like that. That's what it all is all about.
This game is heavy about the decisions that you make throughout this entire run.
The fun thing about not having a sword, though, is that it can still come down to that.
Absolutely.
I say this a lot, but V29 has been not very nice in the sword department. I feel like it's impossible to find them. Most seeds that I do, I end with either Master Sword and, if I'm lucky, Tempered.
I can speak for my tournament race coming up a couple of days ago, where the Tempered Sword for me was in Pendant Mire.
Seeing Hammer Yump from Felix here.
And we see the Skull Woods play from Fantallis.
So both these players kind of cleaning up what each other already did once again. I would be surprised if after this Felix did not go to Swamp.
We already know, based on what we saw from Fantallis, it's the play you need to make.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to have any easier of a moth fight, though, so we'll see how he does with that. Felix picking up his mirror. Fantallis gets to go straight back to Moth. He already checked that chest.
Yeah, that's why Fantallis ended up buying the potion just a few moments ago, was to make sure he's got blue to be able to continue to pepper Mothula with the fire rod. There's the mirror pickup for Felix and the map pickup. So we know that Hemisar does have an item, by the way.
Yeah, but Felix also deciding to say, maybe not.
And that's an interesting decision.
You know what also could be in the very, very, very back of these runners' minds?
Pedestal.
Well, I guess technically, yeah.
Nice
I
hammer kill
was
for Fantallis, by the way.
I was more thinking that Ice Palace could be holding what we're looking for.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that ice, no matter what, is the play. That place has all the goodies. Felix, the first of our runners to head over to the Maya area, unfortunately without the Cane of Samaria, which we know is in Swamp. But he's going to check out Checkerboard. Maybe he'll get something that'll lead him away from here. I didn't see what Meyer ended up being, if he did check it.
He did glance at it real briefly, but not enough that I could tell you what it was going to be. And so if Meyer is Quake or Ether, he can't step inside at this point. Well, we may see him attempt to do Desert. And by the looks of things, just based on his current movement, he's going to go into Desert.
Yep. Gonna be picking up a red mail.
Like the blue mail, we don't really notice much. It's just based on the eyes where the difference is going to be seen.
That one's definitely a more vivid color, though. They are certainly red. Fantallis heading over the Meyer area, so we're going to be able to take another... Never mind.
Wanted to see what was on the desert ledge first.
Yeah. I will be able to take another look at what Meyer is. Pay a little more attention.
Chat's telling us it's Ether.
Oh, he didn't even look.
He will when he leaves Checkerboard. Rather, he leaves when he leaves the Meyer shed.
Yeah.
So if it is Ether, then the worst case scenario for Felix is that he finds Ether in this dungeon.
I do believe that was Ether.
So we need
to get the blue mail.
So we now know, as a piece of art is found, we do know that. So there you are. There's both items, and that was that Sanctuary Heart.
Yep, he got that nice little refill there at the end.
So Felix is whistling away, and that's understandable at this point because he cannot beat that. He can beat that dungeon, but he wants to lump it together when he gets done with Misery Mire. There's nothing else he can find in Desert. It's not part of the 5-6 combo. So why finish? Why stick around?
Looks like he's going to be diving into Swamp, which is the good play for him.
You know,
and luckily for Felix, Fantallis can't get into Meyer either. If it is indeed Ether, which I do believe it is.
That ice play is starting to become more and more stronger.
Yeah.
Ooh, not what Felix
having a
wanted.
Feeling.
Felix wanted to secure that fairy in a bottle. And I can understand why, because he's going to be going up against Vitreous. Now, he's got red mail, so that's going to help him out. But what's also lingering on his mind is what happened to him in his NMG run about a week ago when he ended up dying in Mire. So he wants to make sure that he stays safe.
If Ice does end up being the play, there will be a couple opportunities for him to snag some anti-fairy, powdered anti-fairies, so. Fantallis, on the other hand, is finishing up Desert.
Well, even here, there are several opportunities for you to score that extra fairy.
We're gonna see some Silver Arrow Lamolus action here. We're not quite getting that second Lanmola. It's still a very nice 2-cycle. So Fantallis now definitely has a definitive lead in the crystal department.
So Fantallis checking the checkerboard cave. Finds out that it's just the bomb upgrade. So right now, Fantallis technically does have the crystal lead. Felix a little behind, but we still have a lot of things we got to find in this game. And Fantallis is making a play that we haven't seen yet. Here's Agina.
Yeah, we mentioned this a little while ago that neither player had done it, so...
And Agina has, survey says... Red Rupee. You know another play that neither of these runners have made, and they're getting a lot of bottles. I'm surprised neither of them have checked the spike cave.
Yeah, they don't have Burnout or Cape, but with how many bottles they have, they could easily get through it.
I think Fantallis is getting ready to check the breadsmith at this point. Probably will also check the peg cave. Now, as you mentioned earlier, this is going to be an easier search for Fantallis because of the fact that he's got the mirror.
Yeah, we haven't seen Purple Chest on Felix's side yet. All we saw was him do the Smithy. Oh, but he's going to check out Cave 45 first. Good call.
Yep, the cave south of Haunted Grove. As we're going to go ahead and see what is inside. And this is obviously a mirror-blocked location. So, what fun do we have inside? 300 rupees.
A lot of money.
Not what these runners need to see at this point.
Felix going for the double puff pound.
Yeah, he got it. That's nice.
It's a lot harder than it looks sometimes.
Yeah, I know. You try pulling these strats off, you're like, how in the world do these runners get to pull these off like it's easy, like it's cake?
Let's see if Felix also gets a nice, easy first try arrow hit. Well, not quite. Can probably go for it again. There it is.
Yeah. 1 for 2, good free throw percentage shooter.
Oh, Fantallis picking up the chicken.
Yeah, he's trying to set up the hammer dash, and unfortunately, he was right on the spot.
Ooh,
there's our first of the sword upgrade.
That is definitely something we want.
So we're 2 items away from go mode at this point, and Ether as well as the Quake.
There's a couple truly locations that these medallions can be. We
Absolutely.
have Pedestal. We have Helmasaur. They can't be in Myra Rotona Rock, which is actually strangely a blessing.
But here's the thing. That Quake could also be at the Pyramid Ferry.
Yep.
And likewise, that Ether could be in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it just all depends on which medallion we find first. Felix grabbing his Cane of Samaria. Again, without that Ether, though, it's not too helpful. Or even Quake. The 2 dungeons that you need Samaria for, and we can't get in them.
This is a really tense match at this point, and there's so many locations that these runners still have to check at this point.
Yeah. The gap between the two isn't as big as it looks. I mean, really what's standing between them is Felix doing this left side of swamp and desert, and that's kind of it. I mean, for all we know, Fantallis, after this, might make a Thieves Town play, and that'll put Felix right back into it if he decides to do Thieves Town instead of Ice, for whatever reason.
Yeah, that right there is the biggest difference between these two runners, and I could see the absolute the mentality about going into Thieves Town. You have access to chests there faster than you would Ice Palace.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Ice Palace is also the green pendant. So we'll see where Fantallis flutes here.
If he flutes to 3, he's going to Thieves Town. And he's
yeah.
going to 3.
This is good for Felix. This is very good for Felix. This is the time that he needs to make up.
This is the hunt for medallions at this point. And so that Felix is done with Swamp. We saw only 300 rupees out of the purple chest, so there's nothing good in there. And which way does Felix go from this point on?
Say that he's going to go to Ice. He's saving and quitting to his house? Oh, to Mountain Cave, maybe for a refill then. Yeah. Pulling out the flute. If he flutes to 8, we know he's going to Ice.
Where is he going? If he goes to 8, he's going to Ice. If he's going to 3, he's checking some Dark World stuff. He's going to 3. He's checking some Dark World stuff.
Yeah, I think he's looking for the purple chest and hammer pegs, which will get him the Master Sword. So it's not entirely a bad play. And
Master Sword is something that he needs to have.
Exactly. If we don't find another sword anywhere else, and even just having a sword upgrade in general, being on the same level ground as Fantallis.
Oh, he is going to be checking, I believe at this point, he's going to see what's here at the... he's going to go check at the Bumper Cave, and then he may check Graveyard Ledge, which is something that we haven't seen from Fantallis, and now it's Selous Square.
Ooh, there's the book up there.
Oh, that's interesting.
All right, well, that we got to keep that in our mind. This seed is something.
So Felix is going to check the Bonk Rocks. He's going to check King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge. We already know what's in the 2 of the 3 locations. The Graveyard Ledge we never saw. What if the magic cape is right there in Graveyard Ledge?
That's what I was thinking. And then a book to Ether Tablet or Bombos Tablet. And that holds Ether on Bombos Tablet and Quake on Ether Tablet, obviously.
Why are you so rude to our runners?
Well, that's great. How fun would that be?
Fun for us, not fun for them.
I'd be laughing. If it was me, I'd be giggling.
No, if I was in this seed right now, I'd be wondering where my opponent is. Especially when I know my opponent and how well they are at Randomizer.
Yeah. Alright, well, we're gonna have all of our suspicions cleared here.
So, Graveyard Ledge. Show us the magic cape!
That is certainly not a cape. Alright, well, the runners are saved for another day. There is still the book there, on Bumper Cave. So, the dream isn't technically dead.
And there still is the Quake, which is where Felix is heading to now, the Quake Fish. At this point, we know that Felix does need to make his way into that peg cave. But when he does, it's at a time to be determined at this point.
Yeah. And Fantallis is slowly catching up to Felix as he is, you know, walking around the overworld doing all these loose ends. Fantallis is at blind right now.
Yeah. This is a race to find who gets the medallions first.
I feel like it's a race to ice. I feel like ice is going to be the key.
It could be. There's a boomerang, and not what Felix needs to see.
No, not at all.
Oh, Felix didn't see what was on the pyramid ledge, so that's where he's heading to next.
Alright, and with that, Fantallis has actually finished up Thieves Town. That was a very quick check for him. Felix taking another peek at the map, making sure he has everything right. Grabbing some potions.
Oh, okay.
He might be making that ice play. He might be like, you know what? I only have fighter sword. I'm getting some potions.
And Fantallis is going to be checking out to see what's at the Bumper Cave, so we'll have the news about the book in just a moment. Likely we'll check the pyramid ledge, not the pyramid ledge, the graveyard ledge, and then also the Quakefish. So we know those three search aren't going to come up with anything. But if Fantallis mirrors at Quakefish, then we know that Fantallis is going into ice.
I don't think Felix will be very far behind him. Felix is running out of options after he checks Pyramid, if he even has any other ones at that point.
What a seed.
Yeah, this is something. I'm telling you, ice is the answer at all times. Oh, there's a red goo. Felix is like, yep, probably gonna just grab that.
Yeah, so we now have found all 4 bottles. And Felix finds out that that's not where you can mirror.
It's hard to remember sometimes. Alright, I want to see that flute to 8. Come on, Felix. There he goes. Felix is going to be the first one to go into Ice Palace and find something.
Fantallis 2 items away from go mode. Felix 3 items away from go mode.
Oh man. If Felix does end up finding a sword somewhere along his travels, but then so does Fantallis, that could be huge as well.
Stay tuned. This race is going to get more and more interesting.
Fantallis is mirroring. I have to assume he's on his way to ice now as well. And there he goes, on to 8. In a little better position because of that Master Sword. There's Quake! Yep, immediately.
Oh, and Felix
is out.
Yeah, Felix is done.
Doesn't even care. He's like, that's enough for me. I've only barely touched ice. I'm not spending any more time than I need to in here. Let's go to Turtle Rock.
So up to 1 we go. What does Fantallis find out's in here in ice? Does Fantallis stay in here? And Chelsea, you are right. Ice was the play.
Well, you know, you can just tell when ice is going to be the play. If it's a pendant, it's most definitely the play. Alright, Fantallis is going to see his Quake here. I'm very curious to see if he continues on.
He is.
He is. This could either hurt or help him.
This is going to decide the match. He's gone.
Never mind. Never mind. Changing his mind. Oh, I was excited. That would have been fun.
And the thing is that we are still looking for the ether.
And Felix definitely still has a lead.
But it's not a huge lead at this point.
It really isn't. It's very, very small. It is maybe a minute at most.
Oh, is Fantallis checking the spike cave as well with this sprouting?
That's the only reason I could see him going this way. Or grabbing half magic for Trinex, which would
Oh.
be a very helpful item to have.
Yeah,
it is.
yep,
He's
that's
getting
exactly
half
what he's
magic.
doing.
Yep. Felix does. We know he has a bunch of potions, though. So I think at the end of the day, Felix will be okay. But that is definitely a smart play on Fantallis' end.
Yeah, but the thing I was about to bring up, too, is don't forget, Felix has to go back into Desert to finish that dungeon off.
That is true. That is
not
a minute.
Yeah, it's not a long time to go into Desert, but it is enough of a difference in time at this point.
Yeah, this could come down to a sword difference or a GT gamble. This is a incredibly close race.
It is. Stay tuned. We hit commentary no mode as soon as Felix finds the ether. Unless Fantallis finds it first, and then Fantallis will be in go mode. First of 5 items inside of Turtle Rock will be 20 rupees. By the way, we know that the Pyramid Fairy is not going to be required this seed because we still are missing the ether. That's the only thing we're missing at this point.
I'm looking forward to a last chest ether on the laser bridge.
Well, you were right about where we found the... As we find another small key. You were correct in regards to where we found the next progression in this seed, so who's to say that you aren't wrong about this as well? So we know that the vanilla big key is going to be... the big key here.
Yeah, if you don't find a big key up till this point, you know that it has to be there because there's nowhere else you can go. Yeah, I commentated a match earlier today, and we called the ice rod being in the last chest of... Ooh, getting a bunch of fairies there. I've called the ice rod being in the last chest of Laser Bridge, so... I figure I'd push my luck with the ether now.
You know what would be amazing?
A lot of things, but what?
Well, if we find that cape.
Yep. I want that book to be relevant.
And if that book becomes relevant, that gives Fantallis an advantage at this point because of that Master Sword.
Yeah, you need at least Master Sword in order to get anything off of the tablets.
Yeah, you can see what's on the tablets, but you'd have to backtrack once you find a sword upgrade. And backtracking could make the difference in this race at this point.
I'm gonna be checking out Mimic Cave here.
So Felix going into Mimic Cave at 123.45. Mimic Cave having 20 rupees. Not what Felix needs to see at this point. We are looking for a sword upgrade. We are looking for ether. That is a map. Also not what Felix needs to see.
No.
As we go into this next chest, Fantallis about to go into the Mimic Cave. Felix using the boomerang strats and using the invincibility frames as well to help him through. So 124.49. So that is all of 1:04 difference between Felix and Fantallis going into this cave.
You know,
that
Turtle
is
Rock could also not be the answer. It could still be, you know, at Helmasaur. It could still be on the pedestal. It could be at the rest of Ice.
Yeah, both of these runners opting to skip the remainder of Ice Palace after fighting the Quake. Both of these runners getting 4 out of the 5 items out of the Palace of Darkness.
So that 1 minute lead that Felix has may not even be set in stone if they do diverge at some point. There's that key.
Oh.
There's a mushroom. Oh boy. Mushroom to cape, is it happening?
Oh god. And a piece of heart. But Trinex has the final item. Yeah, you're gonna see both of these runners go into hammer strats for this fight against Trinex. That mushroom scares me.
Yeah, it's a little scary for me too. Not seeing backdoor strats from Felix, but still seeing some hammer. Like I said, he has a bunch of potions. I don't think he has any reason to worry, but you never know.
He's gonna have the slippery floor to deal with.
Yep, but he does get that firehead down.
Gets him in a very nice spot so he can get at least a couple of good hits on
he's getting a very good pattern. Just needs 2 more. Oh, 1 more. I lied. A couple fire rod shots will actually take him down. Yep.
Yeah, that fire rod shot was what he needed to do. All right.
Very nice.
Yeah, so far very nice here for Felix. Fantallis about to go into the Trinex fight as well. Oh, Felix is beautiful here. 3, 4.
Ooh, getting a little bonked around, but there Trinex goes right as Fantallis starts the fight.
Yeah, he was down to his final hit at that point. He knew what he was getting into. What does Trinex drop?
Bomb upgrade.
Oh,
the
dream is still alive with that mushroom.
With the mushroom, there's so many things where this ether could be.
And Fantallis is going to go to sword strats here. That half magic working out well for Fantallis at this point.
Felix is thinking about what he wants to do.
Yeah, does he go over towards Spike Cave or does he just get on out of here? It looks like he is getting out of here.
He is heading back into ice.
Oh my goodness. What a decision at this point.
Yeah, to go back in after already leaving.
And he's going to whistle away.
Oh.
And
I'm surprised he isn't just turning in his mushroom really quickly.
I know. Fantallis is heading to Spike Cave.
Yeah, Fantallis is going to Spike Cave. This is a race.
This is so tense.
Oh, hammer pegs and purple chest. That's what Felix is doing.
Yeah, that's what Felix is doing. So he's going to get the Master Sword.
That's good for Felix. Right now, these players are kind of back on even ground. They're looking for the ether. The first one to find ether is going to be in a very good position. Oh,
Felix, you already turned into Breadsmith.
Yep.
And we have a piece of heart. Nothing good at Spike Cave.
I want to know what Fantallis does next.
Fantallis may turn in that mushroom. we're down to pretty much having to go back into ice or going back into pod at this point. There's the sword upgrade for Felix. So now we are on even terms. We are now just an ether away from go mode.
We're gonna find out what this mushroom is. Let it be the cape.
Felix is going to be checking Cave 45 as well, south of the Haunted Grove. Fantallis finding the other boomerang.
Oh man, alright. It's pod or ice. And it's either in those dungeons at Saharshalar or on the pedestal.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. This is a seed.
This is indeed a seed. Felix finds 300 rupees. Now what he needs to find. Fantallis going back into ice. Felix was about to make this move.
Yeah, this pays off. Oh man.
Felix taking the purple chest over to the potion shop. This was to... I think he's lumping these together. Turning in the mushroom now. He's going to turn in the purple chest. Then he's going to come back and see what the mushroom yields. So that's not what Felix needs to see. So he's going to head on over. And the next time for Felix is to see what that mushroom yields. We'll be disappointed on finding out that it's just the boomerang. We have two items left tonight.
If Helmasaur does have ether, that is pretty much the only way that Felix can gain a lead back.
Oh, Felix is checking Agina.
He is trying to avoid going back into dungeons that he's already done, and I don't blame him.
I can totally understand it, can totally sympathize with that, but at this point, a dungeon revisit is on the cards.
I can't imagine him going to pod before ice.
I can't either, but maybe he's thinking
That he's so far behind and he needs to make a crazy gamble.
It's tough to figure out what's going to be going through these runners' minds as we go through the next 5 minutes of this seed. Where Felix whistles to determines a lot at this point.
Yeah, it is
and he's
ice.
going back into ice. It's a number and volume here, because if you don't get it here, you're going to go back into Palace of Darkness, but you're going to turn in that green pendant before you go inside.
Yeah, that's another reason why I feel like obviously that is the answer, just because of that route in itself. Oh man, if both of the medallions were in here, imagine if just one of them had stayed.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And I can't wait to see the reactions if it does turn out the Quake is in here. And that is a blue rupee. That is item number 2.
We have one more item here. One item here. One item at Schlarsch. One item at Helmasaur. And then the pedestal.
There's the big key in its vanilla location.
I mean, one thing's for sure, these runners are definitely putting on a show for us.
Yeah, be sure to follow both of these runners here, Felix TC and Fantallis. These guys are great randomizer runners. And great people in the community too as well. There's a map.
I'm gonna check this big chest here. It's a piece of heart.
Nothing there. So it's either at Sarashla or at Helmasaur. Felix is messing up pretty badly here with this bomb jump. He's got to be getting flustered at this point.
That's gonna be too low. Yep. That looks good.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Alright. I can't believe it. If it's pedestal, oh man.
So we know it is not here in Ice Palace. Great start here against Cold Stare. Gets him out of the corner, unfortunately, but it was kind of difficult to keep him in there in the Master Sword.
Very nice job, though.
Solid kill overall. We
Getting
get
that key. We're gonna get our green pendant. Is this the key to Ether? Or is Helmosaur hiding it? You know, Cape could still pop up.
I know. Cape could be on the pedestal. This is a screwy seat at this point.
Seat is messed up.
And I'm glad you guys are here for the ride.
I know I'm glad I'm here.
I'm glad that you're here to join me for this. This is quite the journey.
That's certainly a word that I would use. Alright, Fantallis is gonna mirror here. Turn in his green pendant. What are we gonna get? I am shaking in my boots.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not wearing boots, but I would be if I was.
Here we go. It's the blue king!
Oh my
gosh! We've got to go into pod!
If Felix had gone into pod, that would have been fantastic for him. Unless, of course, it was pedestal.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. I want to know what the item rate is going to be. What the item count is going to be at the end of this. It's got to be high.
It's going to be.
Like, depending on where GT Big Key is, oh my gosh.
If Ganon Tower Big Key is at the tile room, we're going to probably be setting a record for the most amount of items collected in a seed.
I mean, they really just haven't seen the books, the tablets. Otherwise, like, that's all it is.
Which is going to be hilarious if we get the magic cape out of somewhere in the sequence. Felix still... He's going to go powder this anti-fairy. Can't blame him.
Call.
That's a good decision to do at this point.
Oh, he's not going to be happy when he turns in that green pendant.
Unless it turns out that the pedestal is required, and then this time is not time wasted.
I mean, Fantallis did the same exact thing, so...
Exactly. So Felix going up against the cotton candy of Cold Stare. And he's going to get bothered here. He's not going to be able to get into the corner. Going to use up his magic. Now, remember, Fantallis grabbed the half magic, so he had a little bit of an extra advantage here in his fight against Cold Stare.
Fantallis going into the Helmosaur fight.
And we know that Helmosaur is going to drop an item. If it's not the Quake, it's not the Cape. This is a
Something's on pedestal.
Acquired seed.
Oh my gosh. I have a feeling this is going to be Ether right here, though. I see it.
You haven't been wrong yet.
Well, I was. I said Ether was going to be on Laser Bridge.
Okay, fine. You're wrong there. The tension.
All right.
The kill.
Here we go.
Here it is. If it's anything but the cape or quake, we have a pedestal, or ether rather, we have a pedestal required seed. Survey says it's a piece of art.
My God.
We have a pedestal required seed.
Oh my gosh. What am I involved with right now? This is out of control.
Now what's on the pedestal? It may not be the boat coin. It could be the cape.
I am just in disbelief.
God.
If it's the cape here, I'm just I'm
gonna be laughing my butt off if it's the cape.
so concerned. My tourney match is tomorrow. I hope mine doesn't go this.
This is just about getting it out of the way before your match.
Yeah, I'm involved with it. Here we go. We're blind pulling because we don't have a choice.
Oh my God! Here we go.
What is it?
It is
The ether.
the gold coin. We are in go mode at 1 hour 41:07.
Wow. Just wow.
Oh wow!
I would have bombed that pedestal.
So Fantallis going into Misery Mire. Don't forget, Felix does still have to finish off Desert. It's just a quick trip on over to the Lamolas, but that's going to allow Fantallis to have a little bit of a bigger lead at this point. This isn't a done deal just yet. It could come down to a crazy gamble in Ganon's tower.
Certainly could. It could come down to a fall at Ganon. So Felix is very much still in this.
And that's right, because we're still dealing with a Master Sword at this point.
It could come down to one of them finding a sword and one of them not. In GT.
So you said you did commentary earlier today.
I did.
Was that seed at all as crazy as this one, or is this worse?
It was bad. It wasn't this. This is one of the worst seeds I've witnessed.
A blind pull, the pedestal required.
This is also the first commentary I've done where a pedestal has been required. So that's
this is my
momentous for
second
me.
in the Link to the Past Randomizer tournaments.
This is a momentous occasion.
And a God Buyer!
Yep, getting that very, very quick. One key, one big key, and you are right at the door.
This seed is giving these guys a little bit of a I'm sorry that I made you do this by giving them the God Buyer setup.
Yeah. Oh, it's Mario Block giving him a little issues.
So Fantallis heading here to Misery Mire. 49 silver arrows. So this upcoming fight against Vitreous is not going to be any problem. And good thing that Fantallis also remembered that because this was a God Mire, he didn't have to mess with that crystal switch. Oh, Felix didn't check Spike Cave. He's heading up there now first before he heads into the pedestal.
Oh, no, if I have that pendant, I'm immediately going to the pedestal. I don't care at that point.
So this is going to be a fast fight for Fantallis. 8 silver arrows to kill the eyes around it, and then 2 to kill the big eyeball. And Fantallis will be the first of our runners to head into Ganon's tower. So, you know what's about to begin.
It is a lovely little game we like to play called the Big Key Guessing Game. Pick a number between 1 and 22, and if you are correct in guessing where that big key ends up being, you will get some sick points on, I think the leaderboard is working. I don't think the bot didn't work for the last one, so I think it's still dead. But
Yeah,
you'll have my love, is what you'll have. So congratulations, I'm sure you want that.
That sounds like a nice prize, and I think the seed is going to have chest number 14 for where the big key is going to turn up. What do you think?
I'm a 12 main. I say 12 every time. Although knowing this seed, it's probably going to be tile room, so that's my secondary choice.
Oh goodness. As Felix pulls the bolt coin to go into go mode at 145.54. Now it's time to finish off Desert, get into Mire, and finish that off. Fantallis has probably about a 3 to 4 minute advantage right at this moment over Felix. But don't forget, these runners have to deal with Master Sword Ganon unless we find another sword upgrade here in Ganon's Tower.
And that, although, you know, a fall to Ganon may cost much, but at this point, I don't know if it'll be enough. Not that Mire is very long, but Felix still has to beat Desert too. Alright, and in we go. The game begins.
Doesn't have to be the swords in Misery Mire. One could be at the Pyramid Fairy, one could be at the tablet at this point. We get a small key in number 1. We get 20 rupees inside number 2, and Fantallis is going to go ahead and mirror.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to opt to go to the right side, he's just going to go left. That is objectively the safer choice.
A small key on the torch at number 3, and he's going to go ahead and grab it.
4 through 7 is coming up in this Stalfos room.
Felix having to use a potion at this point. Probably not where he wanted to use a potion in Desert, but has to do so in order to light those torches.
4, that's a bomb upgrade. 5, just a map.
Now you can find the way upstairs.
Piece of heart and a heart container. For 7, moving on to 8.
Fast kill of the Lamola there for Felix, and he'll head on over to Misery Mire next. Chest number 8.
Has a sword.
There's a sword upgrade.
Right.
That is huge.
If Felix does go right side, and the big key ends up being over there, that is big.
Absolutely. That means that Felix is probably going to lose as much time on the Master Sword Ganon attempts here as Fantallis will have by going this opposite direction.
Into the fire bar room, or fire snake. I believe that was number 9.
Yeah, that's number 9 right there, and we're going to head over to the Randomizer room, which is called Randomizer room because this is the only time you're ever going to see this room in the game. We got ourselves some rupees, some bombs.
Wasn't my
10
number
pack
12?
of bombs. And there's the
butter.
sword.
Of course. I'm telling you, V29 likes to have swords in GT for whatever reason.
So Felix will not be able to get a sword if he goes right side, and the big key is on the right side.
Heading over to Ice Armos.
And that seems like a play that Felix may make at this point, because you've got to be feeling at this point with all the moves that have been made, even though this is a pedestal required seed, you may be behind.
Oh, I'm sure Fantallis feels the exact same way too.
And so there's the big key there for Felix, and it's time for the trip over to Vitreous as Fantallis faces off against the Ice Armos.
Very easy fight with silvers. Here's yours. Just a big 20. And
There's
it
the
was
big
just
key.
one above.
So if you guess chest number 16, you are but a winner. And to Felix and Fantallis, our apologies for this seed.
Yeah, the seed was fun to watch. Certainly fun to watch. Not so sure about the playing aspect. Alright, Felix, as Fantallis goes up GT, is in the Vidi fight. Has silver arrows. It'll be a snap.
Yeah, this is just formality at this point. And the funny thing is about this seed is that both runners were in Palace of Darkness earlier. They could have beaten the dungeon. They knew that the Helmasaur King had the 5th and final item, but they opted not to kill off the dungeon. So both runners, as you mentioned, probably feel that they are behind at this point, waiting for the dot done from their opponent because of the fact that they backtracked in the pod later on.
But unknowingly, both the runners did the exact same thing. They made the exact same plays.
Yeah,
it honestly just came down to different routing options and maybe even just, you know, I can't think of the word. Oh my gosh.
Routing disparities are definitely a thing, especially considering the fact that when Fantallis came up here the first time, he was able to full clear with the hookshot and whatnot, and Felix had to backtrack up here a little bit earlier. That is one of those things that came into play. As we see Felix pick up the half magic before heading into Ganon's tower, and Fantallis already threw the Wizrobe rooms, getting ready to head up to the 6th floor, and what tense feeling we had about 5 minutes ago has gone away because now we got the butter sword and silver arrows. This is rough to say, but this is Fantallis' race to lose, where 5 minutes ago it was who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's how Rando can be. It's just, it can change in the blink of an eye. Fantallis has no need to check those.
Yeah, there's nothing beneficial that he can find at this point.
Woo, that was a little sketchy.
And that could still be
trying to take him out with them.
And that could still be a little nerve-wracking here, because if you do it a little too aggressively on that spin, you could despawn the remainder of the tower, and thankfully he didn't.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I know about the fire rod despawn. Felix is going right side.
So Fantallis here against Aghanim 2.
Getting kind of a not good pattern. Ooh, but getting a nice little double there. I think that might have counted for 2. Now they're...
Should get a double here. Yep,
Yep,
never
there we
mind.
go.
We're at 5, so that doesn't matter anymore.
Maybe Felix will go full right side here.
For his sake, with the regards to what we know is on the left side, hopefully he doesn't, and he will opt to go the other direction. But no,
I think he is. He's missing out on 2 by going full right here. Wow.
This wouldn't be a bad play otherwise, but what we know about this seed. As fantallis here going into the Ganon fight.
Just 6 slashes with the butter sword will put Ganon into his next phase. As opposed to where Felix will have Master Sword, that's 12 spins. And he's already into phase 3.
And we have him down 3 of the quarters of the floor down. And there's the 4th, so very good Ganon fight. Not much in the way of warps at all. And 4 silver arrows is going to end this fight and improve fantallis to 1 and 0 here in this tournament. 1, 2, nope, didn't get it.
Right, but he'll get the last arrow right here. And that was a beautiful Ganon fight.
Absolutely. So as Felix is ready to climb the tower, oh no, he's going left side looking for a sword. As fantallis is about to go through the door, and fantallis will go to 1 and 0 in this tournament with an official final time, stopping around 1:56.59. Get your GGs into chat for fantallis.
And the seed certainly did get him. That is an understatement there. Thank you, Triforce Room.
Yeah, that's kind of just mocking our runners at this point. So Felix goes to 0-1, and obviously you're not done at 0-1. In this tournament, the way this is going to work out is because of the way the triangles work. Any runner that has 5, 6, or 7 wins, they will move on to the next round of this tournament. They will join the 12 players that are sitting on the sidelines waiting to see who they have to face in brackets. The 12, the 8 who made it to the top 8 of the primary tournament last fall, and the top 4 of that secondary tournament.
Felix making his way through the gauntlet now. Really just wasn't that far behind. So it's always, you know, finishing when your opponent, or being in GT when your opponent finishes is never a bad feeling, you know?
Absolutely.
You know it was a good race, and that's, you know, that's the most that you can ask for. Down goes Lambo 2. Using that Samaria block to take out the Wizrobes. One of the most satisfying things to do in this game. Woo! Those modeling guards kind of had it out for Felix there, but he was able to stay on the conveyor.
Trying to see if we can get Fantallis into the interview here. Just one moment.
Felix making his way. He has 2 keys. He doesn't need to bother with the little mini helm swords. Throwing that bomb a little too far. He's going to be going into the Moldorm 2 fight. He'll probably opt to use Hammer, considering he only has Master Sword. Nope, he's going for spins.
And with that sound, we have Fantallis joining us for the post-race interview. GG.
GG, Fantallis. Beautiful race.
They can't hear us for just a second, so we'll hold on while Felix faces off against Daga 2.
Going for Swagnet strats, which I 100% approve of.
Oh,
Getting a nice double hit there. Oh.
Sorry about that.
So, GG to Fantallis. Tell me your thoughts about this run.
That was... I mean, great way to start the tournament. Fantastic. Good. Lovely. Blind pedestal pull. That's how we do these things. I'm unclear. Was it possible to not blind pull it? Do we know that at all?
I have no idea where
we never found the cape, so we don't know if it had to be. Well, it had to be a blind pull because we found everything else before the pedestal.
I believe we saw all of GT as well between the two of you, so I don't know where that thing is.
Must be in Misery Mire.
It must.
I don't know what's left.
I don't think there's anything.
It's just sitting there up on that ledge, just tantalizing.
Towards the end, we were like, all right, well, it could be pedestal, it could be, cape could be on pedestal, it could be, Ether could be stuck behind Ether tablet, so we have to go get the book. It was a mess.
Oh, I was so ready for cape to be on pedestal just to prolong this.
Yeah. I think we're waiting for that too, but unfortunately we got hit with the hey, okay, well, this is gonna give you a little bit of solace here.
Yeah.
Here's Godmire.
Yeah, here's Godmire. No swords. Oh yeah, 2 swords in Ganon's tower. Thank you.
Speaking of, Felix is actually rocking the Master Sword right now.
Ooh.
He went full right side.
God.
Yeah, I think that's how we all feel about this seed.
Full right side.
Full right side.
Good luck, I guess. It'll
Doing it.
path magic 4 bottles. It's fine, right?
Yeah, I think he has a couple potions, so he's should be heading into phase 3 right now.
Yeah, he is. So here's my question for you. We'll ask Felix the same question when he got done. You got 4 items out of the Palace of Darkness. You got to the big key chest, the big chest rather. Helmasaur had an item. Why did you leave the dungeon?
Well, the item that was in there, okay, first off, I didn't have to go to pod, but I did it anyway because, I don't know, I thought it was the right thing to do at the time, and it wound up being the right thing to do at the time. And the moment I found Mirror in there, I was like, this unlocks so much stuff. It's amazing. So I don't know. it was the same thing as Ice Palace, which I hopped into Ice Palace, found the thing, and then left. And
Just
it's
going to
like,
interrupt you for just a second here as Felix finishes off his Master Sword fight against Ganon, and he's about ready to go through the doors. Get your GGs in the chat for Felix TC, who finishes off this seed at 2:05:15.
That was a lovely Master Sword fight.
It was. And unbeknownst to you, by the way, Felix did the same exact thing in Pod as well as in Ice.
really?
Yep.
Well, it felt like the right thing. Like, why would you want to hang around Ice Palace? Why would anyone want to do
Hi,
that?
Felix.
Hello.
How do you feel?
That seed was garbage, and I played like garbage.
So I just got done asking Fantallis this question. I'm going to ask you the same question. You got to the big chest in the Palace of Darkness, and then you went into the mire because you did the hammer jump. You found out that you had 4 out of the 5 items in Palace of Darkness, but did not go to Helmusar King. Why is that?
I forgot that I might need the pendant. I was like, oh, he doesn't. No, wait, he does have an item. Oh, I've already mirrored. All right, let's keep going. It's fine.
Yeah,
Fine.
It's fine. Famous last words.
Yep, it's perfectly fine. This is fine. This is fine. Unbeknownst to you, and I was saying this to Fantallis, you two did the same exact thing in Pod. You left after getting to the big chest area. You both ended up mirroring out of Ice Palace after getting the Quake.
Yeah, I mean, what are the chances that it's a pedestal seed? Like 4% at most? So,
A pestle seed like that, no less.
yeah. So, you know.
And the funny thing is, even when we got to the pedestal, we didn't have an idea what was going to be there because of that book that was on Bumper Cave.
Oh, I knew. It was the only thing I had left.
Cape.
Where was Kate?
We don't have no idea, but it could have been at the pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And then fine at the tablet. But either way, I knew it was a pedestal seed at that point.
Yeah.
We all did.
Yeah, we were like, well, as soon as Helmusor dropped, we were like, there it is.
Yeah, as soon as I had to go back into Pod after Green Pendant, I turned in that. I was just laughing. I was like, all right, I lost. There's nothing I can do at this point. I'm so far behind. Everything has been checked. So I just started laughing.
So, do you know where the other 2 sword upgrades were?
They had to be in GT or on the
Left side.
Okay. I figured going right side was one of the only chances I had of catching up at all. Just full right side commit. Not
Yeah.
many people do that, so.
Then in a different situation, it would have been a good play.
But then when Fantallis pulled out both swords out of the left side, it was almost a foregone conclusion at that point. But this was an interesting seed.
Yeah, you know what? I was so excited coming out of Pod, thinking to myself, boy, I found the thing. There it is. The bottleneck. The one last thing that's going to just open this whole thing up. And then it went on for another hour. So that was fun.
Yeah, the mirror you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my initial thought was basically like, okay, I'm about to go in Dark World. We're going to go to Pod. And then I saw Pod was a pendant, and I was like, we're not going to go to Pod. Let's do everything else first. And that was a horrible idea.
In the end, I don't think it made much of a difference. I wound up full clearing pretty much everything anyway. 172 collection rate. Good stuff. Fantastic.
We were wondering what that number is going to be at the end.
Yeah, what was really fun about this seed is it was very, very back and forth. Like the entire time. It was either one of you were in the lead and it was relatively obvious, or you had no idea. And then at the very, very end, Fantallis just slightly got to ice before you, Felix. And at that point, it was kind of, GG.
It was done. Yep.
And the other thing is that you started to make your way back to ice, and then you backed out of it. Why was that?
It was one of those like, well, if it's in ice at this point, I've already made the decision just to leave after that first chest. So what again? One of those like, well, I've already lost if this is what it is. I'll go check somewhere else that maybe he wouldn't have, which is why I went to Spike Cave before the pedestal. I was like, there might be something that leads me somewhere else on the pedestal. Let's go to Spike Cave, and that might be something that was forgotten. At this point, I have no other choice.
Yeah, unbeknownst to you, Fantallis, did the same thing, leaving ice. And at that point, when you were about to go into ice, you had about a minute lead.
Well, that's disappointing.
Sorry.
This was, let me say this in serious. The way the seed balanced out, it seemed like for a while Felix had a lead. For a while, Fantallis had a lead. Then Felix, and then Fantallis. Felix, and then Fantallis ended up taking away the lead and just patted it at the end.
It was an incredibly good race. It was very fun to watch. Both of you went through way too much to get there.
Good to hear, at least.
Just sleep on it tonight, watch the VOD tomorrow, and just enjoy us just going through complete hilarity when we get to the end of this and we find out, oh goodness, this is going to be a pedestal required seed.
Also, throw the seed in the garbage, please. Please, just don't let it escape ever.
Yeah, this one's going straight in the trash.
Yep.
I believe
Recycling bin
that
immediately.
have a folder, do you, of bad seeds?
No, they disappear, and I never think of them again.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's someone else. Our boy Zebra.
That's
or
the
something.
wiser decision.
I think my
It
downloads
is.
folder needs another purge soon. They're all bad.
All the seeds are bad.
They're all in their own special way.
Every time you play Randomizer, it finds a new way to mess with you.
So, Fantallis, you go to 1-0 in this tournament here.
Yeah.
Your thoughts going into week 2?
I hope week 2 isn't as bad as this was. That was, yeah. If I lose week 2, whatever. If I play well in week 2, that'd be great. If I could be handed something that's not this obviously unkind to me, that's really the only thing I'm looking for.
Well, we wish you good luck for your next race next week. And Felix, you go to 0-1, but you can bounce back next week and get yourself on the winning streak here and continue your way towards brackets.
Absolutely. We'll just go, 6-0 from here.
That's the spirit. Hold your head up high.
I believe.
This was just a rude seed.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I actually collected less. Oh, left side GT.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
barely.
Yeah, 3 items difference.
Also, I don't like Moth anymore.
Oh,
Fighter Sword Moth, that was bad.
you clutched it out on the second fight though.
And yeah, then I was just angry for a while.
Oh.
I can understand that. And you could tell that when you're here in your second trip through the Ice Palace, were you a little bit tilted because you had to go back in?
Yeah, a little. I honestly, this whole race, I was not playing well. And I apologize, Fantallis, but I expressly remember thinking, I'm playing bad, and I hope he's playing just as bad as I am.
Wow.
I mean, I did a couple of dumbs. I started heading towards the back of Skullwoods without a sword.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
The first or the last time I will do that.
That's what they all
Yeah.
say.
I forgot about that because of how the seed went, but you ended up doing that in your first trip through. At what point were you in that room, the Gibdos, and the bell went off? Oh wait, I can't beat this yet.
Every time I make that mistake, it's getting earlier and earlier that I make that realization. So this is
It's
pretty
better
good.
than being at the curtain and being like, oh yeah.
Are those made of asbestos or something? Like, it doesn't just fire the thing.
Yeah, they're like weeds or something. I don't know why fire doesn't just get rid of them.
This game makes no sense.
It's that fireproofing bedding.
There we go. You need that when your
Yeah,
entire
fire
palace-
to get into the dungeon, but you can't just whatever.
No, you don't. You don't
Has,
spamming fire out all over the place.
has anyone tried Ice Rod on it? I feel like it might be some Dark World reverse magic situation.
I tried to have something besides kill Trinex.
Yeah, little does anyone know, that's actually the head of a dead Trinex. The ice head is somewhere else. It's not important.
Just remove this off your hard drive, walk it off, and get ready for next week, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Will do. Thank you guys very much for commentary. Thank you to our
Thank
tracker.
you.
I have no idea who it is, but thank you very much.
That
Maybe
is
or
maybe
not.
or not.
Maybe you're not. Thank you very much. And of course, always thank you to Feasel and the Speed Gaming crew. Fantallis, GG.
Yeah, GG.
Best of luck the rest of the tournament. Represent well for Canada, please.
Canada. You too. Yeah,
All
thanks
right.
everybody who put this on. This is fantastic.
Let's see what week 2 has in store for you guys. Hopefully, it'll be a lot nicer to you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, Fantallis and Felix_TC. Be sure to follow them as they continue on throughout this entire tournament.
Thank you for putting on a great race. Thank you, Rick, for commentating with me. It was a blast. Please follow these runners. They deserve it after this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no more that I can say to that.
If you're looking for more, link to the past randomizer, you got races going on Speed Gaming 4 and Speed Gaming 5, as well as the one that started at 8 o'clock over on Speed Gaming 2. In the meantime here, we're going to probably go ahead and host one of the streams that are going on right now as we get ready for a Shantae coming up at 10 p.m. Eastern here on Speed Gaming 3. Over on Speed Gaming 1 right now, we have Pika Pals versus Willard J. Bradley. That is in the No Major Glitches tournament. And also quite the matchup going on at 11 o'clock as Joe DeMillo facing on Dodecahedron in that tournament at 11 o'clock Eastern. Plus Fast Attack versus Sinister 1. In Rockman 2 on Speed Gaming 2 tonight at 11 o'clock Eastern as well. So some great races here on Speed Gaming. In other tournaments besides here, the link to the past randomizer tournament, some great races coming up here tonight and as well as tomorrow. So stay tuned, look at the schedule, see where everything's going to be. And I'll let Chelsea say the last word, but I'm Adirondack Rick saying thank you to everyone for joining us, maybe or not, for doing the tracking for two great runners, Fantallis and Felix_TC. I hope you have a good night. Chelsea, send us on out of here, please.
Yeah, everything that Rick said. Thank you all for watching. It was so much fun. GG's to the runners. I had a blast. Let this seed burn. Night, everyone.
Good night.